It's been over 3 decades since Uncle Buck burst onto our screens with heart, humor, and unforgettable performances. This beloved 1989 comedy not only showcased the legendary charm of John Candy but also introduced us to a cast of rising stars who would go on to leave their mark on Hollywood. But where are they now? How have their lives and careers evolved after all these years? In this video, we're taking a nostalgic trip down memory lane to uncover what happened to the stars of Uncle Buck. From major Hollywood careers to quiet retirements, from personal triumphs to unexpected tragedies, here's what the cast looks like in 2025 and how time has shaped their journeys. You won't believe some of these transformations. Macaulay Culkin, who portrayed the clever and curious Miles Russell in Uncle Buck, was only 9 years old in 1989. His sharp wit and expressive face made him a standout among child actors of the time. Though his breakout came with Home Alone, the success was a double-edged sword. Fame brought immense pressure and eventually strained his relationship with his parents, who went through a bitter custody battle over his fortune. Culkin emancipated himself at 15 and became estranged from much of his family. He married actress Rachel Miner at just 18, but the marriage was short-lived and childless. Later relationships, including with Mila Kunis, ended in heartbreak. He has one daughter, Dakota Song, born in 2021 with actress Brenda Song, though their relationship has reportedly faced repeated turmoil. Culkin struggled with addiction in his 20s and withdrew from the spotlight for nearly a decade. He now lives a reclusive life, rarely granting interviews and investing in obscure art projects. He's estimated to have a net worth of $18 million, though he has admitted to feeling spiritually bankrupt despite his wealth. His charming beginnings as a child star contrast sharply with his deeply lonely and misunderstood adult years. John Candy, who played the lovable and chaotic Buck Russell, was 39 when Uncle Buck premiered. His performance as the well-meaning, bumbling uncle resonated with audiences and became one of his most beloved roles. Behind the scenes, Candy struggled with deep insecurities about his weight, chronic stress, and anxiety. Though known for his humor, he battled depression privately for most of his life. He was married to Rosemary Margaret Hober, and the two had 2 children, Jennifer and Christopher, but the marriage was strained by Candy's erratic work schedule and emotional withdrawal. He suffered multiple financial setbacks, including failed investments in a Canadian football team. Candy also dealt with survivor's guilt following the deaths of close friends like John Belushi. Tragically, he died of a heart attack in 1994 at the age of 43 while filming in Mexico. He was found alone in his hotel room, far from family. His estate was worth around $3 million at the time of his death. Though he brought joy to millions, Candy's own life was shadowed by loneliness, insecurity, and the pressure to always be funny. Jean Lisa Kelly, who portrayed the rebellious teen Tia Russell, was 17 in 1989. Her performance captured the angst and emotional complexity of adolescence. After Uncle Buck, she pursued musical theater and had minor roles in TV and film, but her career never reached the same height. Kelly married composer James P. Morrison in 1997, and they had 2 children, Cameron and Emma. However, the couple divorced quietly in 2018 after years of emotional distance and reported infidelity. The pressures of motherhood and an unfulfilling career led to a long bout of depression, during which she withdrew from public life. Kelly reportedly attempted a comeback through regional theater, but persistent health issues and chronic fatigue derailed those efforts. In recent years, she has lived in relative obscurity, renting a modest home in upstate New York and tutoring music part-time. She has also spoken out about body image struggles and emotional abuse she endured in Hollywood. Now 52, her estimated net worth is less than $400,000, and she reportedly lives a quiet, lonely life with limited contact with her former co-stars. Gabby Hoffman, who played the sweet and observant Maisie Russell, was 7 during the filming of Uncle Buck. Her innocence and emotional depth charmed audiences and hinted at a bright future. Though she continued acting into adulthood, Hoffman struggled with the instability of her unconventional upbringing, raised in New York's Chelsea Hotel by her bohemian mother. She had several tumultuous relationships, most notably with a director 20 years her senior, which ended in legal battles over property and abuse allegations. She has one child, Rosemary, born in 2014, and is reportedly estranged from the child's father. Hoffman has spoken candidly about battling bipolar disorder and PTSD stemming from childhood trauma. She temporarily left acting to study midwifery but abandoned the program after a breakdown in 2017. Now 43, she lives in semi-isolation in Northern California, where she grows her own food and avoids modern technology. Her net worth is estimated at $1 million, much of it inherited from a trust fund left by her late mother. Despite sporadic indie film roles, Hoffman remains largely forgotten by mainstream audiences, haunted by fame that came too early. Amy Madigan, who portrayed Buck's on-again off-again girlfriend Chani Skobalowski, was 39 in Uncle Buck and brought a blend of grit and vulnerability to the role. Married to actor Ed Harris since 1983, their relationship was long considered solid, but friends have reported periods of estrangement and private therapy sessions following Harris's rumored infidelities during the 1990s. The couple had one daughter, Lily Dolores, but she distanced herself from Hollywood and now lives abroad. After Uncle Buck, Madigan's career slowly waned. Typecast in roles that failed to challenge her, she grew disillusioned with the industry. She suffered a nervous breakdown in 2005 and briefly disappeared from public life. Financially, Madigan endured a series of bad real estate investments and was nearly bankrupt by 2011. Though she recovered through voice work and occasional guest roles, her once thriving career never fully returned. Now 74, she lives in a modest home in New Mexico with limited contact with her former co-stars or family. Her current estimated net worth is $600,000. Once a rising star, Madigan's journey is a portrait of silent disappointment and artistic frustration hidden beneath the surface. Elaine Bromka, who portrayed Cindy Russell in Uncle Buck, was 40 years old when she took on the role of the overwhelmed mother torn between career obligations and her chaotic family. Her performance as a stressed but loving mother added a grounding warmth to the film's comedic chaos. After Uncle Buck, Bromka's career never soared to stardom. She worked sporadically in theater and independent films, often struggling financially between roles. She married playwright Thomas Kirsch in 1982, and they had 2 children, Daniel and Elise. However, their marriage began to unravel in the early 2000s due to Kirsch's infidelity and prolonged absence during Elaine's battle with depression. The couple divorced in 2004, leaving Elaine emotionally devastated. Her daughter Elise distanced herself from the family, while Daniel battled substance abuse, further straining family ties. Bromka suffered a nervous breakdown in 2011, followed by a brief hospitalization. In 2014, she lost her home due to mounting debts and now lives in a modest assisted living facility in upstate New York. She remains mostly reclusive, with limited contact with former colleagues or family. At age 75, her net worth is estimated to be around $80,000, most of which comes from residuals and Social Security. Despite her past fame, she lives in near obscurity, haunted by the ghosts of what might have been. Garrett M. Brown, who played Bob Russell, the distant yet well-meaning father in Uncle Buck, was 42 when he took on the role. His character, often overwhelmed by responsibility, echoed Garrett's own insecurities at the time. Following the film's release, Brown's career faltered. He landed minor TV roles but struggled with being typecast. Brown married costume designer Fiona Latham in 1991, and the couple had 3 children, Olivia, Theo, and Miles. The marriage was fraught with instability, largely due to Garrett's growing dependence on alcohol and his deep dissatisfaction with his professional stagnation. In 2002, Fiona left him, citing emotional neglect. Garrett spent several years isolated in a cabin in Oregon, grappling with depression, a brief stint in rehab, and severe financial troubles after losing most of his savings in a failed film project. He declared bankruptcy in 2009 and now lives in a small rental apartment in Burbank, California. Though occasionally appearing at conventions, he lives a solitary life, estranged from two of his children. At 77, Brown's estimated net worth is just under $40,000. He lives quietly, surviving off modest royalties and Social Security, often reflecting on a life derailed by fame's fleeting nature. Laurie Metcalf, who portrayed the hilariously nosy neighbor Marcy Dahlgren Frost in Uncle Buck, was 34 at the time of filming. Though her role was small, Metcalf's sharp comedic timing made her scenes memorable. After Uncle Buck, she found success with Roseanne, but her personal life was riddled with heartbreak. She married actor Jeff Perry in 1983, and they had a daughter, Zoe. However, their marriage collapsed under the weight of Laurie's intense work schedule and Jeff's ongoing struggles with infidelity. They divorced in 1992. Later, Metcalf entered a volatile relationship with Matt Roth, her Roseanne co-star, and had 3 more children, Will, May, and Donovan. The relationship turned toxic, marked by legal disputes and custody battles before ending in 2014. Professionally, Laurie faced career slumps and mounting anxiety, leading to prescription medication dependency between 2010 and 2013. Despite winning awards, she admitted feeling unfulfilled and lonely. She currently resides in a modest home in Pasadena, away from Hollywood's glare. Now 69, Metcalf's net worth is estimated at $1.2 million, though much of it is tied up in real estate. She remains a respected but emotionally withdrawn figure in the industry, reluctant to speak of her past. Jay Underwood, who portrayed the arrogant and rebellious teen Bug in Uncle Buck, was just 20 at the time. His character was the quintessential bad boyfriend, reckless, disrespectful, and ultimately forgettable. Unfortunately, Jay's career took a similar arc. After a few minor roles in the early 90s, Underwood faded from the spotlight and struggled to find stable work in Hollywood. He married high school sweetheart Nicole Tanner in 1993, and they had 5 children: Luke, Hannah, Isaac, Ruth, and Caleb. Yet the financial and emotional strain of raising a large family on minimal acting income led Jay to abandon Hollywood entirely by 2005. He became a pastor in a small Californian town, but even there, life was not easy. A fire destroyed his home in 2011, forcing the family to live in temporary housing for 2 years. He also underwent treatment for bipolar disorder after a public breakdown in 2016. Despite the hardships, Underwood remains with Nicole, though their marriage has been tested by poverty, health issues, and estrangement from 2 of their adult children. Now 56, he lives humbly and earns less than $40,000 annually. He owns no property and drives a donated van. Once a promising star, Underwood now lives a quiet, burdened life of service and repentance. Brian Tarantino, who portrayed the seedy and awkward clown Bookery, Roger Coswell in Uncle Buck, was 30 at the time. Known for his offbeat charm and character roles, Brian never broke into leading man territory. His post-Uncle Buck career was littered with bit parts in TV and film, often playing shady or eccentric characters. Privately, Brian battled lifelong substance abuse, beginning in his teenage years. He never married, though he had a tumultuous, decade-long relationship with fellow actress Melinda Page, which ended in heartbreak when she left him due to his spiraling addictions. Brian fathered one son, Tyler, whom he never truly connected with, causing deep regret later in life. He lived most of his adult life in cramped New York City apartments, struggling with depression and anxiety. Between 2010 and 2019, he suffered multiple health issues, including liver damage and a heart condition exacerbated by years of drug use. Tragically, he was found dead in his Hell's Kitchen apartment in 2019 from an accidental overdose involving fentanyl-laced heroin. He died alone at age 60. His estate was worth less than $10,000, and a crowdfunding campaign was needed to cover funeral expenses. Though fondly remembered by peers, Brian Tarantino's life ended as quietly and tragically as many of the roles he once played. Dennis Cockrum, who played Pal in Uncle Buck, was 33 years old at the time of filming in 1989. His role, though small, brought a warm, neighborly charm to the film. After Uncle Buck, Cockrum struggled to gain a firm footing in Hollywood. Typecast in unremarkable supporting roles, he never achieved mainstream recognition. His personal life mirrored his career's disappointments. He married stage actress Linda Wexler in 1991, and the couple had 2 daughters, Emily and Claire. However, the marriage was fraught with financial instability and Linda's long battles with depression. They divorced in 2007. Cockrum distanced himself from his daughters during their teenage years due to his emotional breakdowns. One of the most painful tragedies he endured was the loss of his younger brother to suicide in 1999. He also battled alcoholism for much of the 2000s, leading to a stint in rehab. In 2013, Cockrum declared bankruptcy following a failed investment in a community theater. Now 68, he lives alone in a modest apartment in Pasadena, surviving on a small pension and occasional voiceover gigs. His net worth is estimated at around $60,000. Despite his struggles, he occasionally teaches acting at a local community college, though he remains largely forgotten by the industry he once loved. Mike Starr, who made a hilarious yet dark impression as Pooter the Clown in Uncle Buck, was 39 years old in 1989. The cigarette-smoking, hungover clown scene became a cult classic, but Starr's career after that moment was a mixed bag. Though he continued acting in minor roles, he was rarely trusted with leading parts. Starr married his longtime partner, florist Nina Calabrese, in 1994, and they had 3 children, Vincent, Marco, and Elise. Sadly, Nina died in 2008 from ovarian cancer, which left Starr devastated and withdrawn. He developed a gambling addiction that drained much of his savings by 2012. In 2016, his son Marco was arrested for armed robbery, sending the family into further turmoil. Starr attempted to reconnect with his Catholic faith, attending AA and grief counseling. He briefly lived with his daughter Elise before moving into a senior facility. The death of his younger brother in a 2019 construction accident added to his sorrow. Now 74, Starr lives quietly in Queens, surviving off residuals and a modest pension. Once valued at over $1 million, his estate is now estimated at less than $150,000. Though occasionally appearing at fan conventions, he rarely speaks about Uncle Buck, calling it the peak and the beginning of the descent. Suzanne Shepherd, who portrayed the stern yet fair Mrs. Hogarth in Uncle Buck, was 55 in 1989. Her commanding presence as the school administrator left a lasting impression. A trained stage actress, Shepherd hoped the film would reignite her career, but it did not lead to any significant resurgence. She married documentary filmmaker Gerald Keane in the early 1970s, and they had one son, Joshua, who struggled with drug addiction. Their marriage ended in divorce in 1990, shortly after Uncle Buck was released. Shepherd later revealed she had endured years of emotional neglect. In 1995, she suffered a stroke which limited her mobility and forced her to leave acting altogether. Joshua died of an overdose in 1998, a tragedy from which she never fully recovered. She moved into an assisted living home in 2005, rarely receiving visitors. Once valued for her intellect and passion, Shepherd faded from the public eye, only mentioned in passing by theater peers. Now 90 years old, she suffers from dementia and has no known living relatives. Her estate, which was once worth nearly $500,000, has dwindled to less than $80,000. She lives quietly in a Bronx facility, her glory days long past, remembered only by diehard fans of late 80s comedies. Wayne Nealand, who appeared as Party Boy No. 3 in Uncle Buck, had a blink-and-you-miss-it role in the rowdy teen party scene. Little was known about him at the time, and even less followed. He was in his early 20s during filming, but the brief exposure did not open doors for a lasting acting career. Nealand pivoted to bartending and later opened a small dive bar in Indiana, which he ran for nearly a decade. He married high school teacher Cheryl Donahue in 1994, and they had one child, Daniel. However, Nealon's growing issues with substance abuse and alleged infidelity led to their divorce in 2002. In 2005, he was injured in a car crash caused by drunk driving, resulting in chronic back pain and long-term prescription drug dependency. His financial struggles worsened when his bar was foreclosed in 2010. Isolated and estranged from both his ex-wife and son, he vanished from public view. Reports suggest he has been in and out of recovery centers since 2015. His last confirmed sighting was in 2021 at a shelter in Chicago. While his current age is unclear, he would be in his late 50s today. With no property and minimal income, his net worth is estimated at under $10,000, a far cry from Hollywood dreams. Who is your favorite character from Uncle Buck? How does it feel knowing that some of the actors are no longer with us? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy this type of content, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on future uploads. Thank you for your support.